Hello! We are Let's Make Art. I'm Nicole, and you made it to the last video of our beginner lettering series. So this one is a little tips and tricks. I got 3 of them for you. The first one is, if you're going through this and you're a little frustrated and something's a little bit off, here's my tip for you. One is angle your paper. What happens is that when I see most people draw is that they're a little bit straight up and down. Again, that could work for you, but what I want you to experiment with is if you angle it slightly. So I am right-handed, so I tend to angle it like that. My hand's rested, and then I can draw like that, and that works for me. There are some people who are a lot more angled. Again, experiment with that, and that will help you just figure things out. If you are lefty, hi lefties out there, I know you exist and you can do it. I've seen a 12-year-old who's a left-hander. So if you stop now and you're left-handed, it's not okay. I want you to try this tip. If you angle your paper just a little bit, so with lefties, I've seen some lefties are underwriters and some lefties are overwriters. Either way, if you have your paper angled a little bit, you will be able to draw the strokes, not left-handed, but I'm gonna try for you guys. You will still be able to draw. The other thing is I've actually seen lefties who are literally have their paper like that. I mean, I guess I can try. Anyways, that feels good. I want you to just experiment if you're left-handed. Go for it. So that is tip number 1. So tip number 2 that I want you to experiment with is your grip. I know in school we were probably taught you shouldn't grip this way, and I'm not here to be your teacher. You can grip however you want. Some people have it like this, some people have it like this, all the fingers. You can experiment with it. But what I want you to try doing is, this is a little bit less of a don't, but please don't take it as that. What I want to show you is if you were drawing and my hand is up higher, that is harder for me to control, whereas if I grip closer, I have so much more control with my strokes, so I can really control my thin on the up and my thick on the down. So what I would experiment with is your placement on the physical brush. With that said, again, if you grip like this, that is totally okay. But the main thing is that I want you to have control, and that will really help you moving forward with that. Tip number 3, the last one, which is actually the best one because I swear this is the one I've taught so many students in person, and this one, they have that aha moment. So with this one, I'm going to angle my paper because that's how I draw. If you look at my hand, so what I'm going to call this is how you approach the letter. So what I mean by that is if I were to draw the same stroke, and if you can tell, I'm approaching the letter from the bottom. If you shift and actually approach the letter from the side, it is a lot easier to get a thin and a lot easier to get a thick. So again, I'll show you the difference. It's this, which if you're starting like this, it is a lot harder to get the thick on the down, whereas if I shift and I'm approaching the letter, attacking the letter, whatever you want to call it, you can easily get a thin and then you can get a thick. With that said, the second part of this tip is what you can also experiment with is, and this one I will preface is less of a do and don't. It's actually more everyone has personal preference because everyone grips differently. So I want you to try and see this, just experiment with it. I'm going to approach the letter from the side instead of the bottom like I just talked about. But with this tip, is if you just slightly rotate your hand a little bit up, so can you see the difference? Is this versus this, is I feel like I have more control, even more control, rather than if I were to come, actually a good example is on the O. So I'm approaching the letter from the side, but when I draw, if my brush or my brush pen is angled more like that, I can easily push, but when I pull, I feel myself cramping. It takes a lot more to go up. Rather than if I just rotate ever so slightly my angle of my hand, I can easily, it's easier for me to push and it's a lot easier for me to pull. So again, push and pull. So that is something I promise you, if you just experiment with it, I know it's probably hard to figure out which one's right or wrong. It's not right or wrong. All I want you to do is just see what feels best. That's the whole goal of this. The beautiful thing about hand lettering is it doesn't have to look like a font. That's the whole reason why we all feel associated with hand lettering, is it's a personal touch. And I want you to have your own personal touch on your own hand lettering. So that is the end of our beginner series. I'm really excited for you guys to keep going and learning, and you can come join the party at letsmakeart.com.